Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3 back once again for True Heels BTR Between the Ropes with former two-time Impact World Champion Eddie Edwards. Great to talk to you again, Eddie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate
Yes, I appreciate your time. A lot
it.
going on in the world of Impact Wrestling. So glad to have someone like yourself who has been with the company for so long and just a couple of months away from your 10-year anniversary with Impact Wrestling as well. Yeah, I just saw that. I was like, oh man, we're like 6 months away from really like you're a defining era in Impact Wrestling with you involved. How do you kind of look at that and being so long with this really landmark company in the world of professional wrestling?
It didn't really hit until you said it. When you say 10 years, it's a decade. It's that, that sense of time that, while you're in it, I don't, it doesn't really compute. It's like I'm just, doing my job. I'm working for Impact. I'm loving what I'm doing. And then when you take a step back, it's like, wow, almost, it will be a decade of me in Impact. And, I've enjoyed every step of it. There's been ups, there's been downs, but, that's life. And I'm really digging where we're at, as a company, and I'm happy with what I'm doing personally for sure.
Yeah, right now you're in deep in a rivalry with Frankie Kazarian, just coming off of Against All Odds, and your first time one on one. Like it blew my mind when that was kind of said during the build up to the matchup, because I have seen both of you guys' career over the last all these years, whether it be your time in Ring of Honor or Frankie's time in the original TNA, to know that you two guys who have that close connection, both being trained by Killer Kowalski. How crazy for was it for you personally to be in the wing with Frankie Kazarian one on one after all this time?
Yeah, it's kind of the same when we sat back and we thought about it and we told people like this is the first time we're going one on one. Like we've been like two ships passing the night. We did some tag stuff when me and Davey first got to TNA, and then our times were different in ROH, and even on the Indies we never wrestled one on one. So the fact that after all these years, for both of us, we still have matches that we personally want to do. I personally wanted to have this match, and I think the fans look forward to it too. So it's nice that after all these years, we still have some surprises or some matches left in us that people want to see.
So after after that loss in the match, which was awesome at Against All Odds, is it over between you and Frankie, or do you still feel like there's unfinished business between you two guys?
With the history that we both have, being from Killer Kowalski's and being in TNA, being in Impact, I'd say it's pretty far from over. I'd say we're just scratching the surface of it right now. So I'm looking forward to what we're going to be able to do and what we can bring out of each other and what he can bring out of me. I'm looking forward to it.
And you guys both have so much experience in this business. And one of the other talking points going into your first time matchup at Against All Odds was this kind of battle of ideologies when it comes to the locker room leader in Impact Wrestling, considering, Frankie is just coming back into the fold and you've been here strong for the past 9.5 years. What separates you as a locker room leader from Frankie Kazarian?
In my book, Frankie, he's a bit soft. I'll say, he's a bit soft as far as his approach to the others in the locker room. For me, the way I was trained at Kowalski's, and as well as the way I was trained over in Japan, you have to earn your spot. You have to earn that respect. You show respect on your way up, but you earn that respect along the way. And there's going to be tough times if you're in this locker room and you're not living up to your end of the deal. You're not pulling your weight. I'm not afraid to call people out. I'm not afraid to put them in their place. Where Frankie, he's more of a here, take my hand. I'll help you out. I'll show you the way. Until you prove that you deserve that helping hand, I'm not going to do it.
So you bring up, your time in Japan, and it feels like so long since you've been over there since like no the end of 2019, and the world has definitely changed since then with the whole pandemic and everything. But tend to tell people who aren't aware how you first got into pro wrestling Noah all these years ago, because I think it's a very interesting story how you kind of got your foot in the door of professional wrestling and then made your way into pro wrestling Noah when it was probably the most premier promotion in all of Japan, when it had Masawa, you had Kenta Kobashi. Kind of tell us how you got your entryway into there.
Yeah, well, I was actually training at Killer Kowalski's at the time, and Sumi Sakai, she came over to train with Kowalski's for a bit, and she had, connections into the Japanese pro wrestling world, of course, and she pitched the idea. She asked if I would want, to go over to Japan, basically live there and train in the dojo, be a full-on trainee slash, young boy over there, and I jumped to the opportunity. I was full on, and the president at the time, Ryo Nakata, he gave me the opportunity, which I am forever grateful. Him and Misawa, they let this green guy from the states go over there, live in that dojo, train that style, learn that system. And for me, I was so young at the time that I'm glad I went the time I did, because not only did it, help mold me as a professional wrestler, it molded me as a human being. It taught me so much about respect and respecting everybody around you, and everybody in the company, everybody around you, they do their job, and you show each one of them respect along the way. Because I was there, I was that, as you said in the locker room, I was that guy that was trying to pull my weight, and some days I didn't do it, and they would let me hear about it. That's the way I was brought up, and that's the way I want to pass on that wrestling tradition, that quality, that pro wrestling Noah tradition. And I'm just very grateful that I got the opportunity to go over there. Because, like you said, I was able to be in the ring. But I've taken a forearm from Misawa. I've taken chops from Kobashi. I've taken exploder from Jun Akiyama. Like, these are things that, I was talking about this last weekend. In the time, of course, it was awesome, but it was a struggle for me at times. It was difficult. The training was totally different. I'm in a whole nother country, halfway around the world. It was something totally new. But I look back on it, and I'm so grateful that I was there. And I was there, when Noah was the top. Noah was the best of the best. And I got to see some amazing matches. And it all helped, like I said, mold me outside the ring, but as well as my style and my thinking inside the ring.
So, how do you remember kind of like the culture clash? Because I'm also from the Northeast. I'm from New York. I don't have any enemy with you. I know you're from Boston. But I'm from the Northeast, growing up in the Northeast. How much of a culture change was it to go from there
It,
to, Japan?
it was totally, it was just completely flipped. Obviously, first and foremost, the language barrier. I was the only foreigner living in the dojo, and the other guys could speak, some English here and there, and of course, I was doing my best to learn little bits of Japanese. But again, when you shed it all down, when you trim all that fat, it's about the wrestling over there. And it was like everybody speaks that universal language of hard work and professional wrestling. So once you got in the dojo, you did your squats, you did your push-ups, you did your bumps, you did everything that was asked of you, and that was the way we communicated. And then slowly but surely, I kind of found my way, and I learned more about the way things are done over there, which is first and foremost what you needed to learn. You need to learn about how we would go up there. We would clean the dojo before training. We would do all that stuff, get everything set up, because that's the way it does. And I didn't ask any questions, because that wasn't my place. That was pro wrestling Noah. That was their home. I was a visitor. So I went over, I just jumped in, with both feet, and was like, I will do whatever you ask of me. I'll do everything that all the other trainers are doing, because that's the way I wanted to learn. And it was a culture shock, and this is back 2005. So, there weren't the iPhones with the translation and all of these stuff. It was, go out and find my way. And I did that.
No Google Translate back in those days.
No.
Makes it a lot easier now. And like I said, it's been now going on 4 years since you've been out of Japan. Is there any little itch that you have to be back in that atmosphere? Maybe not necessarily for Pro Wrestling Noah. Now that Impact Wrestling has a connection with New Japan Pro Wrestling, is there any chance or any kind of thought in your mind of making that move and just doing a show out in Japan again?
That itch will never go away from me. It's in my soul. It's in my heart. You know what I mean? I always want to go back. And can't. Unfortunately, it's not like the days of the past where I could go over 3 months at a time. But I would love to go over there for some shows or a week, couple weeks, whatever it may be. I would love to go back to Japan. I'd love to go to Pro Wrestling Noah. That's forever be my home. But as well, would love to go to New Japan because our relationship with Impact. I miss the people of Japan. I miss the fans of it, and I would love to go back. Hopefully, sometime soon, but you never know.
Yeah, and like I said, Impact Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling have this great partnership going on, and in a few months you'll be in Philly for Multiverse United. Is there any ideas that you could give me of anyone you would like to lock horns with at Multiverse United from New Japan?
For me, it's no one specific. It's more about whatever match there are. Like I like the fact that we talk about these first time matchups. There's so many opportunities for Impact versus New Japan. These first time matchups, and the great thing about Impact as well as New Japan is our rosters are so deep. We're so solid right now. You can put flip a coin, spin the wheel and just pick matches, and you'd have a great card. So I like to wait and find out when the time comes, and I'll be ready to go.
And so much has changed in Impact Wrestling over the last, few months since the last time I was able to chat with you. And the roster is kind of so different than what it was just 6 months ago. You recently got back Nick Aldis into the promotion. Trinity just signed with Impact Wrestling. How do you view kind of Impact Wrestling so far now at the near the halfway point of 2023 with the additions of Trinity and Nick Aldis?
Yeah, I think this year again, we're proving it more than even last year, where Impact Wrestling is a destination. Where before, and maybe it wasn't a destination, people would want to come in and go or come make appearances, but now people want to make Impact Wrestling their home, which clearly I understand because I've done that for almost a decade, and I've been pushing this for so long, and the people who have been a part of Impact, we know what the atmosphere is like. We know what the roster is like. We know, the relationship between the roster and the front office. It is a place you can go, you can be creative, and you can enjoy what you're doing. You can enjoy the creativity of all. You can enjoy the matches, everything about it. Just being in the back in the locker room, you can feel that it's something different. And you'll hear that time and time again from people who do come in, for maybe a shot here or there, and they'll tell you that, something's different about the Impact locker room. You can feel it when you're back there. The unity of it all. The term family is so overused and cliched, but that's the best way to describe it. You know what I mean? We're brothers or sisters. We're all hanging out. We all have that same goal, and I think that's the most important part. We have that same goal. We want to bring Impact Wrestling to that next level, and we'll all do whatever it takes to get it there.
And you talk about that family, environment in Impact Wrestling. How was it as the locker room leader that you are to see another person that could be viewed as a locker room leader, Alex Shelley, finally win the Impact World Championship at Against All Odds? I know me as a fan of Impact Wrestling for so long, and seeing him kind of start paparazzi productions with the Motor City Machine Guns, now to reach that mountaintop after 20 years. How was it for you personally being with Impact as long as you have, to see someone that you respect like Alex Shelley win the title?
Yeah, it makes things seem like, all is right in the world type thing, where a guy can start, you can see somebody's journey from start to getting that world title. And, we've all been there, whether it's in wrestling, whether it's in life, whether it's a job that you have. We've all started somewhere, and people always want more. And sometimes, unfortunately, it doesn't come to fruition. But with Shelley, he put in work like, you never seen. Everybody's seen the work that he's put in, the way he's elevated his game, the way he's in insane shape now, the way he thinks, the way that he helps out the locker room. He helps out the young guys, which I see each and every time I'm there. He's in the ring training guys and girls and showing them things in that ring because he loves professional wrestling and he loves Impact Wrestling. So to see him finally achieve that goal, I love it. whether it's an underdog story or not, I love to see people get what they deserve, and that is what Alex Shelley deserves.
100% agree with you. Uh, from our last interview, I thought one of the coolest answers that you gave me is when I asked who you would have put a part of Honor No More at the. We did our interview at the end of 2022, and kind of Honor No More was kind of so identifiable with your year that year, and your answer was the Briscoe brothers. And now, doing this interview now, I would be amiss if I didn't ask kind of your thoughts on the loss of Jay Briscoe, and what's your best memories of Jay Briscoe, being that you spend so much time with him in Ring of Honor and in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I mean it was a shocking, such a tremendous loss to, not just the wrestling world, but to his friends and family. You could see, how truly loved he was by everybody who was ever interacting with them. They're an amazing, they're an amazing family. In general, the Briscoe family, the Pugh family, and Jay. He touched everybody. He influenced everybody. Whether he realized it or not, which he'd say he did. He'd say he didn't because he's humble. That's the way he was, but he really did. And he was one of the best in the ring, but truly one of the greatest outside the ring. For me, the greatest memories is not about the stuff in the ring. It was about traveling. It was about going to the ROH shows in the van, traveling and hanging out after and hanging in the locker room. Those are always the greatest times because that's a time where, again, you feel like your brothers, you feel like your family on that road traveling. And again, you may not realize it when you're in it, but when you take a step back and you realize those are some of the best moments, of my life, of my career. And Jay, he's going to be missed. He is missed and will forever be missed by everybody who has ever been around him. He was truly one of the greatest guys ever knew.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And of course, thank you so much for your time with this interview. Please let the people know, Eddie, where they could follow you on social media, where they can watch all your great work at Impact Wrestling, Impact Plus, Impact Insider, The Zone, everywhere where they can find Impact Wrestling and yourself.
Yeah, for me, I'm just on Twitter as far as social media at the Eddie Edwards. But like you said, Impact Plus, The Zone, everything Impact. Check us out, follow us. You don't want to miss anything. And especially, I'll tell you right now, the pay-per-views we put on are best of the best. Nothing better. Nothing will touch it. But thank you for your support, and thank you to the fans for supporting us. Continue to travel with us and ride with us as we take Impact to that next level, because we will get there one way or another.
I definitely believe in that. And thank you so much to Eddie. Thank you so much to Impact Wrestling. This has been Tru Heels BTR, Between the Ropes with Eddie Edwards. Like, comment, share, subscribe. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3, signing off until next time.